The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise. This is a special edition of 17 News as we broadcast live from the Kern County Fair. Sponsored by Strata Credit Union for life's priorities.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for waking up with us for this special edition of 17 News at Sunrise, live from the Kern County Fair for the first time in 2 years. I'm Maddie Jansen, along with Alex Fisher and Kevin Charette.
Yeah, we were just talking about it just a few moments ago, how it has been 2 years since we were last out here. Of course, it was the fair was closed last year because of the pandemic, but we're so excited to be back out here live this morning. We have a lot to talk about this morning. We're talking about the food, we're talking about the livestock, and the rides as well. So we've got a lot in store this morning. Well, of course, the fair is back after taking a year off because of the pandemic, and we're going to be talking about some of the things that are different this year, but we're also talking about some of our favorites.
Yeah, here's some things you need to know if you're coming out to the fair today. Gates open at 3 this afternoon, and the fun doesn't stop until 10 p.m. We are still just at the start of the fair. It runs until October 3rd, and there is a lot of family fun to be had over the next week and a half. There's live music, carnival rides, attractions, monster trucks, rodeos, livestock exhibits, and of course, one of our favorites, all the food.
Oh, all of the food. Now, if you are planning to head out to the fair, you will need a ticket. Let's go over some of those prices. You can purchase a ticket at the gate. Adults are $12. Those 6 to 12 years old are $5, and kids under 5 get into the Kern County Fair free. Servicemen and women also get in free with a military ID. Or you can purchase tickets ahead of time and skip the line, which is always nice. Just go to kerncountyfair.com, and once you buy the tickets, you will receive a QR code, and you can either print it and bring it to the fair, or you can just simply bring it on your smartphone, and then they'll scan it at the front gate.
And a heads up for those 62 and older, today you can get into the fair for free. It is senior day. That means free admission and free parking until 4 p.m. That's during the fair's normal operating hours of 3 to 10 p.m. this week.
And of course, we were just talking about it. It's so great to have the fair back this year because, last year was closed because of the pandemic, and we were still wondering whether or not it was going to continue this year. And so glad that it is back. And joining us this morning to talk more about some of the changes that you might need to know about is Chris Burton.
Hey, good morning, Chris.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you doing?
Yeah. Doing great,
We're here at the fair.
So, if you walk the fairgrounds here in 2019, things are going to look, for the most part, pretty much the same. Cinnamon rolls, Ferris wheel,
she's already had her
cakes.
cinnamon roll.
Yeah, they're all here, and I know some people were concerned about that. But like you said, COVID has forced some changes, and I'm going to take you through some of those right now. So there are fewer rides this year. We're going to see, rides are more spaced out because of social distancing measures. We're also going to see some vendors inside and outside spaced out further as well. A few fair mainstays like the Kern County Bass Club and Bakersfield Fire don't have stations this year. That's because they are on a volunteer basis and couldn't get volunteers for the fair. And fairgoers won't need to provide proof of vaccination or mask up, but directors are strongly encouraging masking and social distancing procedures.
Remember the common matters that we were taught early in the COVID: social distancing, washing your hands, and keep your face covered. And I think so long as we do that, they will be able to ensure for themselves that they will have a safe fair.
But it hasn't stopped people from coming out to the fairgrounds. Attendance is up 18% from 2019 numbers so far, and this weekend promises to be busy. Now we've got some cool events coming up. Monster trucks are here today and tomorrow, and some of the concerts coming up. We've got Monica, Michael Ray, and Mario Delgado. So look forward to those this weekend.
Yeah, going to be a fun weekend. Michael Ray, I think, might even join us this evening for our newscast. Our 17 News at 5 team is going to be out here again. So that should be fun. Make sure to watch them tonight to see if he pops in.
All right, Chris, thanks so much.
All right, and a reminder now, fair organizers have also provided a quick and easy way to get vaccinated against COVID-19 if you come out to the fair. And if you get that vaccination on site here, you'll even get a free ticket to come back to the fair. No appointments are required. And again, this is through a partnership with the Kern County Public Health Department, and vaccinations are free. And as Chris mentioned, the fair will be closed Monday and Tuesday. Fair organizers say they're closing down for 2 days to do a deep clean as a COVID-19 safety protocol. Gates will reopen Wednesday at 3 p.m.
So that is something different from years past,
Yeah.
the Monday and Tuesday closure. And joining us now to talk more about some of the changes and, of course, some of the things that we typically see here at the fair is Chelsea Roberts, marketing representative with the Kern County Fair. Chelsea, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about what it took to get this and to pull this off. I mean, we were kind of wondering whether or not the fair was actually going to happen, and usually we know months and months in advance, but it was kind of at the last minute we were able to pull this off.
Yeah, it's definitely been a challenge. You know, we go from planning a fair for a whole year to planning it down in pretty much 2 months. So it was definitely stressful and took a lot of time, but we have such a great staff and such a great board, and everyone really just pulled together and worked really hard to get us to this point.
Yeah.
And you've put some safety protocols in place. Are you concerned? I mean, you said even that we have attendance up from 2019, which kind of makes sense because I think people are kind of hungry for something like this to do as a community. But are you concerned?
No, you know, we worked really closely with the Public Health Department, and they've kind of guided us through a way to kind of put on a really safe and healthy event for our community. And across the board through our industry, we've really seen a record number of attendance at fairs all across the U.S. really this year.
Now, for a lot of people, including ourselves, you know, we used to go to the fair every single year, and there's a lot of changes, of course, that come every single year, but a lot of people are wondering about maybe some of the things that they hope to see but might not be here. What are some of the changes that were, some of the major changes this year?
One of the big changes that I think a lot of people look forward to is seeing the petting zoo every year. And we do not have the petting zoo, but luckily we have a really awesome livestock department where the kids can come out and see all of the livestock animals that everyone has worked so hard to raise and show throughout the year. And so that's one of probably a more noticeable change that people will see out here.
Yeah, the animals are still here, as you can see behind us.
And that's such a cool program. It's such an important learning opportunity for local kids. So excited that this is still happening for them this year. It was in just a different format last year, of course. I know the big question is everyone's asking, are masks required? What kind of COVID-19 protocols are in place if you're coming out that you need to know about?
You know, we are lucky to have such a huge outdoor venue. And so, you come, you don't have to show your vaccination records. We are lucky enough to have the Public Health Department out here offering free vaccinations for everyone. We have masks available at all of our gates. If anyone feels like they want one, if they feel uncomfortable at all, we recommend, wearing masks indoors and things like that, and for people to use their best common sense to kind of keep themselves safe.
All right, so that's just, again, a little bit of a change from years past, but I know that we've heard from you and other board members that they are taking the pandemic seriously during this time. Chelsea, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
It. And, each year we talk about, actually what we're going to do right now is we're going to hand this mic over
there we go.
to 17's Nicole Gitsky. She is joining us this morning talking about the delicious food at the Kern County Fair. Maddie talked about it a moment ago. Okay, so first off, before we get to you, Nicole, let's talk about what Maddie has had at the Kern County Fair so far.
Oh, me? What I've eaten so far?
What have you had so far?
Okay, so I had lobster fries, I had fried calamari, fried artichoke, which was incredible. Really, you got to get your veggies in, obviously.
Right.
And then maple bacon cinnamon roll from Old West Cinnamon Rolls.
Yep.
You've got to try it.
You have been really selling this one.
I am so sold on this cinnamon roll. Might be my favorite ever.
So, of course, everyone talks about the fair food, which is always great. But, Nicole, you're joining us this morning to talk about one vendor that thought that she might never serve again after someone stole her concession trailer.
Yeah, I mean, I think usually we think of, we don't really think of the backstory with our vendors here. They come here, we're excited and happy to be here. But for one vendor who came down, her business is more than just a business. It's a part of a livelihood, but it's also a part of her family. And it's just a really tragic story that actually has turned really good in the process. So take a look.
With fairs finally back, vendors have had a busy past couple of months traveling across the West, serving up their best. Nicole Martinez was happy to finally be home in Sacramento for one night after weeks of traveling. But that elatedness quickly wore off when she made a startling discovery the next day.
When I go to move it the next morning, I walk out and I notice it was missing.
Nicole thought there had to be an explanation. Maybe it got towed. Maybe her boyfriend moved it. Something, anything. After 2 quick phone calls, she realized her trailer had been stolen.
I just really didn't think that this would happen. I'm an extremely positive person, but it was like a roller coaster. I felt like someone punched me in the gut. That's how I felt. I felt like I lost my whole everything, my whole business.
Marty's trailer is part of Nicole's livelihood. But it's also much more than that.
My uncle Marty, which he is no longer with us, he basically had the trailer and he had been in the industry. My family has been in the industry for over 60, 70 years. They had a show when we were growing up, and so it's been in our family. It's one thing that's kind of left in the family that's still operating today.
Nicole quickly took to social media in hopes someone might have seen the trailer. It wasn't long until it blew up.
It made me believe in people again, to be honest with you, because I can't explain to you like how many people shared my posts, made comments about my posts, people I didn't know from different counties, from Stockton, Modesto, Bakersfield. I mean, we had over 7,000 people that comment, and it made me have faith in people that, you know, we're going to be okay, we're still all right. You know, when stuff happens to people, if you know them, you don't, the community always tries and helps you.
The next day, she got a call from police. They found her trailer.
I just am so blessed that I got the trailer back and that, you know, everybody did the right thing and was looking out for it. I can't explain to you, and I know he's looking down at me like, you know, life's hard, Nikki, but, you know, you got to just keep going.
Now, Marty's food stand may look a little familiar to you, and that's because that is the stand that's set up right by the big Ferris wheel, and they're also known for their fried peaches. So, teaser, but later we'll have a little preview and a little snack of those. We'll
I've never tried those. I've always wanted
it's
to.
It's healthy because it's fruit.
Obviously.
Right, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, just like the
so it's
our fried artichoke.
You're at the fair. Calories don't count.
Exactly.
No,
but if you want to support Nicole Martinez and her stand, you can head over there. I know they have some very good options.
Good morning. We're back to dive into some headlines. With ashes falling and the Sequoia National Park sign wrapped in protective foil behind him, Governor Gavin Newsom yesterday signed a $15 billion climate package, the largest such investment in state history.
Traditions, lifestyle, people, places wiped off the map. That's what climate is about. We're here mindful of that with a responsibility to do something about that.
Included in the $15 billion package is $1.5 billion for wildfire resilience, like investments in fuel banks and fuel reduction projects, and $5.2 billion over 3 years for drought response, like support for drinking water and wastewater infrastructure, and $3.9 billion to reach the state's zero-emission vehicle goals. Meanwhile, 1,500 federal, state, and local personnel are battling the KNP complex fire. Officials say while conditions yesterday kept aircraft from flying, it helped firefighters on the ground. And this comes as 25 structures were destroyed yesterday when a fast-moving wildfire tore through the Redding area in Shasta County. Crews say the so-called Fawn Fire has scorched 5,500 acres and is just 5% contained. At least 2,000 structures are at risk, and about 4,000 Shasta County residents have already evacuated. Cal Fire officials say the blaze was sparked Wednesday afternoon, but it's unclear how exactly that started. Meantime, new evacuation orders have been issued as a result of the Windy Fire, which expanded on all fronts Wednesday before settling in overnight. The Tulare County Sheriff's Office says an evacuation order has been issued for the communities of Camp Nelson, Pier Point, Coy Flat, Mountain Air, Cedar Slope, Alpine Village, Rogers Camp, Sequoia Crest, and the area of McNally's. Porterville College is a temporary evacuation point where you can find information and assistance. The Windy Fire has now burned over 43,000 acres and is 6% contained.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.